This is the Newsroom.
This is the Newsroom for Monday, March 3, 2025. We're broadcasting to you on E1, SKAR TV, NTN, and TARZEE TV in Bartica. In the headlines, international condemnation of Venezuela's incursions into Guyana's waters.
All our international partners have responded positively.
18 persons are homeless and seeking help after a fire destroys Meadowbrook house. Bodies of a father and son recovered after Berbice River mishap. And in sport, batting in focus as Guyana Harpy Eagles prepare to tackle Jamaica Scoprions, and Bissoondyal Singh re-elected unopposed as Guyana Cricket Board president. With the news, I'm Vishani Raghavar. Thank you for joining us. Escalating tensions between Venezuela and Guyana have sparked international outrage after Venezuelan naval forces encroached upon Guyana's maritime territory, extending from its Essequibo region at the weekend. The move has drawn sharp condemnation from both regional and global bodies, with strong calls for diplomatic resolve and calm. Kurt Campbell tells us more.
On Friday, the Caribbean Community CARICOM routinely issued a statement after its 48th regular meeting of its heads of government. The communique made it clear Venezuela must not infringe on Guyana's sovereign territory, including the Essequibo region and its surrounding maritime space. Just hours later, early on Saturday morning, the situation became alarming. Reports emerged of a Venezuelan Coast Guard vessel in Guyana's exclusive economic zone, specifically in the Meadowbrook block, a site crucial for offshore oil operations. Social media quickly spread images and videos of the vessel and Venezuelan soldiers communicating with the Prosperity floating production, storage and offloading vessel before moving on to other units in the area.
According to your present geographical position, you are operating in the exclusive economic zone of Venezuela, Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
The patrol vessel transmitted a radio message declaring that the FPSO was operating in what it termed disputed international waters.
Soon after, the Guyanese government confirmed the incursion, and President Dr. Irfaan Ali swiftly activated diplomatic channels and condemned the actions as a violation of both international law and agreements made between the two nations.
We have reached out to all our international partners, and all our international partners have responded positively. These include the UK, France, the USS, RSS, CARICOM, and we continue to work with other neighbors, Brazil, at the military level and at the level of the state.
Venezuela's actions contradict the joint Argyle Declaration, which prohibits the use of force or threats in the resolution of the border controversy. It also violates a 2023 order from the International Court of Justice, which called for both nations to refrain from actions that could escalate the controversy or alter the status of the Essequibo region.
Pending a final decision in the case, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela shall refrain from taking any action which would modify the situation that currently prevails in the territory in dispute, whereby the Cooperative Republic of Guyana administers and exercises control over that area.
The International Court of Justice has been handling the long-standing controversy between the two countries that dates back to the late 19th century. The Organization of American States was the first to add its voice, yet again, to what quickly became a chorus of condemnation, urging Venezuela to cease these aggressive actions and respect international norms. This is not the first time that Venezuela has come in for condemnation, with other violations in the past. And also, swift to condemn the actions, the United States issued a stern warning denouncing Venezuela's naval threats as a direct violation of Guyana's recognized maritime rights, particularly around oil exploration activities in the region. The U.S. State Department underscored that such provocative acts are not only illegal, but could severely undermine regional stability and economic progress. They further warned the Maduro regime that any further aggression could have serious consequences. Global leaders from Latin America to Europe have expressed their support for Guyana, urging Venezuela to adhere to the 1899 Arbitral Award, which affirmed Guyana's territorial claims. CARICOM leaders also joined the call for Venezuelan vessels to vacate Guyana's waters immediately, branding the incursion as a clear provocation. Despite these statements from local and international bodies, the vessel remains in Guyana's waters. Dr. Irfan Ali has promised that beyond the diplomatic levels, he will also escalate the issue to the International Court of Justice.
The military leadership would have already met, and we have already deployed air assets. We have already deployed air assets within our exclusive economic zone and within our exclusive waters. The Coast Guard is also in the process of being deployed.
The Guyana Defence Force said it is closely monitoring the situation and have deployed its air assets. On Sunday, international support for Guyana continued to pour in. The British government reaffirmed its commitment to Guyana's territorial integrity and the Commonwealth Venezuela's actions. Major business groups, including the Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association and the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, have also condemned the incursion, highlighting the threat it poses to regional peace and economic stability. Bilateral talks in the past have failed to bring a resolution to the Guyana-Venezuela controversy. After decades of negotiations failed to bring a resolution to the border controversy, the United Nations Secretary-General referred the controversy to the World Court, and Guyana filed its case in March 2018 to obtain a full and final settlement. The provision for the UN Secretary-General to determine the means to permanently settle the border controversy is provided for in the Geneva Agreement. This agreement was signed between then Prime Minister of Guyana, Forbes Burnham, and Venezuela's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ignacio Burgess, in 1966. Venezuela accepted that award and participated in the marking of the boundary line, accepting Guyana's land area as legal, doing so for 6 decades until it raised an objection to the arbitral award on the eve of Guyana's independence from Great Britain. Now, the border controversy is squarely before the World Court, and Guyana hopes for a final and binding settlement that reaffirms the 1899 arbitral award that established the existing boundary between itself and Venezuela. The Guyana government remains confident that the ICJ will uphold its rights to Essequibo and confirm the finality of the 1899 border agreement. For the newsroom, Kurt Campbell.
Now on Monday, France joined the countries and organizations condemning Venezuela's actions. In a statement issued by its Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs, France expressed much concern over the presence of the ship in Guyana's exclusive economic zone. France called on Venezuela to respect Guyana's sovereignty and territorial integrity, the principles of international law, and the order issued by the International Court of Justice on December 1, 2023. France stated that Venezuela must refrain from any unilateral action liable to alter the situation that currently exists off the coast of the Essequibo. When the newsroom returns, we tell you about the family seeking help after their house is destroyed by a fire and the new development plans along the Essequibo coast. Welcome back. This is the newsroom. 18 persons, including 7 children, are now displaced after fire of unknown origin destroyed their Meadowbrook Gardens Georgetown house on Sunday night. More in this report.
I'm standing here outside of a Meadowbrook Gardens Georgetown house. This is what remains of the Lot 8 Bamboo Drive Meadowbrook Gardens Georgetown house following a fire which occurred around 18:55 hours on Sunday. According to reports reaching the newsroom, the Guyana Fire Service was summoned and 3 fire tenders were dispatched to the scene. Upon arrival, the structure was already engulfed in fire. The house was owned by George Reed and his wife, Barbara Reed. A total of 18 persons, including 7 children, lived in the house. We spoke to Barbara Reed.
I was selling in front and somebody told me the house was on fire. And by the time I came down, I saw the entire building engulfed in flames. My eldest son, which is Kennard Reed, told me that my son's mother-in-law, Miss Kayum, and her 2 grandchildren were in his section, which is this section here. And the grandson, he's about 3 years plus, came out to have a bath and he said, "Granny, fire." She done raised the alarm, and my other son, which is on the opposite side, he came around. But when he came around, he said that he saw in the bedroom a mattress ablaze. Anyhow, when he looked around, he saw Miss Kayun, which is my son's mother-in-law. She was trapped. So at that stage, he had to turn to save her. I won't be able to see if anything was left attended, but everything was lost. We are living here about 48 years. All the children born here, my grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
An investigation has been launched to determine the cause of the fire. In the meantime, the displaced persons are seeking shelter at friends and relatives' house.
We would also like to say thank you to the fire service. They has done a good job in containing the flames from spreading, because it would have been a disaster for other family members and other neighbors, because the houses are very close.
As they seek to rebuild, they are seeking the public's assistance. Reporting for the newsroom, Charda Bacchus.
A single-parent mother and 2 siblings are among 500 persons who were allocated their house lots on the Essequibo coast on Saturday as the Ministry of Health finalized housing drive in the region.
For years, Shunala Johnson, who was a single parent and mother of 2, has been sharing the same space with her mother. She dreamt of being independent so that she can provide a more comfortable space for her young children. Johnson is now one step closer to achieving her dream as she was allocated a house lot on the 2nd day of the Ministry of Housing and Water Dream Realize Housing Drive in Region 2 on Saturday.
I'm a single mother of 2, so I mean it's a great achievement to me to be owning my own house lot. I feel great and excited, all the wonderful words you can think about it, and my plans is as soon as they all allocate my house lot is to start to get some work done and start building.
She joined siblings Samuel Dolavera and Indira Dolavera, who are on a mission to get their homes as they plan for the future and families of their own.
I feel happy, so I could start building my own home.
I wanted to own a land for myself because in the future I plan to get married and so on. So I would like to be a proud householder.
Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell said that the ministry has committed to addressing pending applications in all regions, bringing the backlog closer to the year of 2024.
Already, in 4.5 years, we have spent or invested about close to $250 billion in 4.5 years for, by and large, those 40,000 plus house lots. Now, Region 2 has a list of pending applicants about 2,000 plus. So as we are allocating, persons are also applying who have become eligible for 21 years. But what your government, through our President Ali, has committed for this year, 2025, is that we will, all the regions, except I may not be able to accept Region 4, we will be able to bring the list of pending applicants to allocate very close to 2024. So when you are allocated and you don't make use of your land space, you're also depriving others to come. Because there may be others who are in that list that really are in far more need. And Region 2 also has its peculiarity because we have been trying to address a number of squatting issues. And where people think that they will go occupy one of those vacant land and it becomes theirs. It don't work like that.
Persons who are allocated house lots this year should sign their agreements of sale by July 2025. Reporting for the newsroom, Sharda Bacchus.
We tell you now that with new facilities commissioned and existing ones upgraded, the Minister of Housing and Water, Colin Crowell, promised that the entire Essequibo coast will soon have access to treated or potable water. And with a backlog of over 2,000 house lot applications, works are also being carried out to develop 2 housing schemes along the Essequibo coast. Crowell made these announcements on Saturday as he visited several sites in Region 2.
On Essequibo coast itself, as we are doing for the entire country, we have been ensuring 2 things happen. 100% access to water, to potable water, and to address for treated water to the households. So to eliminate that red look, that red water that you see coming from your tap, where that's the iron content. The underneaming plant, right where, in fact, next to where you are being allocated today, the underneaming plant will be commissioned by next month or April, the latest. But we have already started putting into the system the usage, the treatment plant that therefore sees currently about half of the Essequibo coast. Well, more than half, because I'll tell you how more than half, but on this plant, half of the Essequibo coast getting treated water. And then we have upgraded the Lima plant, where there's a treatment plant just opposite where the new regional hospital is being built. We have upgraded that system because historically the persons who were on that system for the last few years were getting up to about 16 hours. It cuts off in the evening. Now we are up to 24 hours and you're also getting treated water through that system. So where's the gap? The gap therefore is from Charity coming down a little. We have therefore already signed the contract and a new plant is being constructed at Mariah's Lodge that will take care for the rest of the Essequibo coast. That will therefore see 100% access to treated water. There are 2 main areas that currently we're working on. You had, when we came into office in 2020, somewhere around 2021, 2022, we would have allocated on the Neeming area, as well as the very area I just spoke about, Buxton, St. Joseph, part of Charity. And the total allocations on those 2 locations are around 791. So that's what we did. We are now adding, as we have gotten this additional land here on the Neeming, that's another 500 plus. Today we're doing 500. So that will take you up to 1,200 to 1,300 allottees in Region 2. And it will be a continuous process because we want to clear the backlog. In fact, there has been some additional lands identified in Charity by Guyana Lands and Survey Commission. But we have not moved that process because we want to be able to address the current Charity situation before we can advance on that. Once we address the drainage, then we'll be able to move to get additional lands there. But we're very optimistic. We're moving quickly as we get them to allocate so that, as I said, clear the backlog with over 2,000
in the system.
The bodies of a father and his son were discovered after a river mishap. More when the newsroom returns. Welcome back. This is the newsroom. The Glow Walk, Walk With Her event held Saturday evening, saw nearly 1,000 participate as it kicked off a month of activities in celebration of International Women's Day. This collaboration by the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security brought together various faith-based, community-based, men's, women's, and civil society groups. Here's a recap of that walk that sent a strong message to those on the KTC walls and across social media. The bodies of Rajendra Singh, a 62-year-old labourer, and his 27-year-old son Rakesh Singh, both of the number 4 settlement Blairmont West Bank, Berbice, were recovered on Sunday, 2 days after they fell overboard during a hunting trip in the Berbice River. The discovery confirmed relatives' worst fears and plunged Singh's already devastated wife further into mourning.
Man in the left side of them against Guyana. And then when they go, when I see them I come back. And when we do here, 3 or 5 of them go. And 3 of them come back. And them say that my husband and my son drowned here. Then I see them back. And all man go search. But then I get them yet. Then go back again. And then I get them yet. Nothing more. They said they see my husband in a drowned here. And then try for a hold up on his hand for save him, but the circle water and carry all of them down. And he being one little son too. And he said he lose my husband. And then I say I'm mad. And then say my son not out the dam. And I hear it, Daddy. And I told man I go save him and I see my key. And them say
Just have one Guyana dagrat. And I catch one. And I go come back. And the water come back. And so to jump off and I go turn it up the rest. Well, the end juice also to catch them. Me see how far in there go ready. So to turn back to help you daddy. And after that I see back here. That ain't got no idea. No one reach down, more. See juice alone there, me juice some. There max juice was like so to there. He said he told me can see back so to. And so to when like he told bridge more. And I'm the same man. Because I don't know my economy.
The Minister of Labour, Joseph Hamilton, recently revealed that the government can no longer delay the introduction of migrant labour into Guyana because of the growing demand. Even so, he urged Guyanese workers to work diligently to capitalise on the demand themselves.
We're at the point where no more we can hold back the tide as a government in bringing in migrant labour to this country. Everybody understands? So all of them who got enough styles, just now. We are trying to do everything possible that we can do for Guyanese people. The days quickly coming when grave competition will be in this space. We can't hold it back anymore. We can't continue to live in this space to think that nothing will change. You better try to be the best that you can be in whatever skill set you have. Because the competition. You know, a lady came to me, Bakewell, You know, the bread people. She came to see me. Actually, all the staff she has now, all the people now baking Bakewell bread that you're eating are from Cuba. You didn't know that, let me tell you. All, actually. Our concern was, Minister, would I get into trouble because of the document issue? My position was, once you pay them and take advantage of them, trust me, you'll get into no trouble. Because we have to eat bread. You can't wait for the Guyanese worker who will not come to work. When they go and hang out with Vice Cartel, 2 days they lost. They not come back. They go and sport with Borman, right? You in trouble, no bread gonna bake. I'm glad y'all could laugh. I'm talking about what is real here.
When the newsroom returns to financial, weather and bridge reports along with sport news. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We start things off with some cricket news. Businessman Bissoondyal Singh was on Saturday afternoon re-elected unopposed as president of the Guyana Cricket Board at the annual general meeting, AGM, held at a hostel at LBI, East Coast Demerara. Cricket Ombudsman Malcolm Peters presided over the elections. The AGM lasted approximately 4 hours, with pertinent issues surrounding cricket administration being ventilated and discussed by stakeholders. Singh will have on his executive for the next 4 years Essequibo Cricket Board President Dilip Singh as first Vice President and Berbice Cricket Board President Dr. Cecil Bihari as the second Vice President. Ronald Williams has returned as Secretary, as has Dr. Brian Sukai as Treasurer. Devtert Ananjit has been elected Assistant Secretary and Vicky Barose the Assistant Treasurer. Sean Messiah is Chairman of the Competitions Committee, while the Marketing Manager is Ravindranath Sewak and Public Relations Officer Edwin Siraj. The trustees are Miranda Cornelius and Zelina Anderson, while the auditor was PKF Barcelos Narain and Co. Moments after being re-elected, Singh spoke to the media about the gains made over the last 4 years and projections for the new term.
It was a real tedious task to get funding, the human resources. SKAR board had a problem with elections for a long time, and the whole place was in a state of disrepair. So most of the time for the first 2 years is to reconstruct the whole the cricket structure and put it back in place, and we successfully done that and managed to reinstate all the intercounty, because they had abolished the intercounties, and we had managed to reinstate the under 15, under 17, and under 19, but also add the under 13 and under 23. And bring some technology, improve on our public relations department, and start live streaming all our important tournaments and so on. These are not really easy tasks, it's tedious and a lot of work, and the night also. During that period, we recognized the world was moving ahead with the shorter version of the game, meaning T20 and the T10. So we managed to acquire, after hard work, a company that sponsored the T20. And this is not ordinary. All the players, 120 players have been captured in this and all being paid, including the match officials. And then we did the T10. Both tournaments combined together is about 250,000 US. We are on the verge now of signing on to another company. Comes up, we will get a part of that revenue. We have managed, well, the projection was to launch 18 training programs, close to an academy across the country, but because of the limited amount of finances, we only managed to put 7 in Essequibo. And you see what's going on in Essequibo, to the extent that Essequibo won both intercounty under 13. So this term you will see 6 more will be added to Berbice and 5 in Demerara. We have already identified the financial resources to start the Berbice leg and the Demerara leg. So shortly you will see all operationalized.
You mentioned a 5-year strategic plan, which would overlap this new term that you have here. Many of your executives here now are returning. What would be your charge to them in terms of lifting Guyana's cricket?
Well, you see, the point is the reason why it's a 5 years, so that we have an extra year, because prior it was 2 years tenure in office, so the county board decided to need 4 years, so we're here at 4 years, so we still have a year to be implemented, but most of it have already implemented. We probably will need to set up another 5-year strategic plan, because we have already achieved what we're supposed to achieve in 5 years in 4 years. So we need to sit down as quickly as possible. And as we discussed in this meeting and so on, there's a new idea. We're going to now set up a women strategic development committee to come up with programs and plans to fix female cricket across the country. And that's going to be done ASAP.
And now for some regional cricket news. Guyana recorded a 3rd win in 4 matches in the West Indies Women's Super 50 Championship, defeating Windward Islands by 7 wickets at Connery Sports Club in St. Kitts. Chasing a meagre target of 98, Guyana slipped to 20 for 3 by the 6th over, with Mandy Mangru 1, Katana Mentor 5 and Shemaine Campbell not all falling cheaply. The informed Liliana Grimmond and Shabika Gajnabi then batted Windward Islands out of the match with an unbroken partnership of 81 as Guyana won with 25 overs to spare. Grimmond ended on 48 off 71 balls with 7 fours, while Gajnabi finished on 32 off 56 with 2 fours. Earlier, Windward Islands recovered from 59 for 8 to post 97 all-out, with the off-spinner Flafiana Millington continuing her fine form with 3 for 27 off 10 overs. Seamer Cherry Ann Fraser picked up 2 for 16, off-spinner Ashmini Munisar 2 for 18, while there was 1 each for Shanita Grimmond, Naya Lachman and Kezia Schultz. Next up, Guyana will play Trinidad and Tobago on Wednesday at Warner Park. Now, the Guyana Harpy Eagles batting lineup will be under intense scrutiny when they face Jamaica Scoprions at Sabina Park from March 5th in the resumption of the 2025 West Indies 4-Day Championship. This will be the Harpy Eagles' first away match of the season, and head coach Ryan Hercules has emphasized the need for his top order to convert starts into substantial scores. The return of Tejnarain Chandapal from injury is expected to bolster the batting, but Hercules wants to see a collective improvement. Batting will be the focus, Hercules told Newsroom's Akeem Green before the team's departure.
The Guyana Harpy Eagles will be traveling soon to play Jamaica Scoprions at Sabina Park. It's the first away fixture this season for the Harpy Eagles. It's a battle that the Harpy Eagles were certainly hoping they can win, or at least get first in his points to extend the lead. Has become a tricky part right now in terms of the point standing. With me in different conditions, some cool one actually, to discuss how the Harpy Eagles have progressed thus far this season is head coach Ryan. Coach, you look back at the season, 3 matches, you probably would have wanted 3 wins, but rain would have been a serious factor in the last encounter. You know, what's your view on the team thus far?
Yeah, as you mentioned with the rain, it's beyond our control. At the end of the first block, we wanted to be on top of the table. So for me, if it's by just 1 point, we would have taken that. Any team would want to be in that position. So I'm pretty much happy with that. Some areas that we discussed after the first block in terms of what we need to start working on to be better. Obviously, defending a double title, you know, we'll have to try some different things coming into the middle phase and the back end of the tournament. So those discussions were positive with the guys, and you know, they're willing to improve themselves in terms of how we're going to go about to make a few changes. Yes, playing a first away game against Jamaica. We know what the condition is like in Jamaica in terms of what it offers for the spinners as well in particular. It was supposed to be a day and night encounter, and that changed to a day game. I think that could also work to our advantage as well. We would have seen that day and night game we had against the Academy in terms of us batting under the light. It wasn't to the best in terms of what we were looking at from a batting point of view. But nevertheless, things to look at going forward. If we do come up in a situation like that, probably next season. But yes, you know, a day encounter in Jamaica. I think we have a good side Tage back in the team as well from that injury, so that'll be that boost in terms of what I want to see him step up as an opener, batting with Matthew Nandu at the top order, the batting. They have been getting some good partnerships up front, but I think it's about time, you know, they show that maturity to step on and score big runs for the guys. So we're looking forward to that 4th round match. We know the importance of trying to get an outright win or even first in its point. So there's a structure in terms of what we're going to look at in terms of how much points we're going to look to gain in Jamaica. And we know the importance of getting those batting and bowling points to give us that extra nod. We know 2 seasons ago how important it was for the guys to get the fast bowls to get an extra bowling points, and it's something we still mention in our team meetings.
Athletics news now. The Guyanese sprinter Daniel Williams has made history by setting a new South American indoor 200-meter record at the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics Championship in Florida. Representing Life University, Williams clocked an impressive 20.48 seconds to win the final. Williams' achievement marks a significant milestone in his career, which has seen him rise from a promising young athlete to a record-breaking sprinter. The sprinter from Linden gained international attention as a 400-meter silver medalist at the 2017 Under-18 World Championship, and later on won multiple medals at the Under-20 South American Championship.
Daniel Williams of Life in the outside lane. He had the 2nd fastest qualifying time. Tyrese Grant for Texas Wesleyan to his left. It is Williams from Life in the outside lane. Williams from Life. Here's Jalen Session of William Carey. Cam Andrews of Cumberland's, but it's going to be Williams, a wire-to-wire win. 20:48 with that time. And that is a new championship record, 2048 for Daniel Williams. Beats the old record set in 2022 by Zaquan Lincoln from Indiana Tech. So Daniel Williams puts the time out there, a record time in the first section.
We tell you now that 20 teachers from Region 2 participated in a two-day badminton training workshop last Friday and Saturday aimed at introducing the sport in schools. The initiative was facilitated by the Guyana Badminton Association in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, the National Sports Commission, and Region 2 Sport Officer Wazida Bacchus. The workshop formed part of the 5 Priority Areas program, which seeks to expand sport development in schools across the region. To support the growth of badminton, each participating secondary school received badminton rackets under the Shuttle Time program, made possible through support from Badminton Panam and the Badminton World Federation. The training was conducted by a team from the Guyana Badminton Association, including Marlon Chung, Matthew Klotke, national badminton player Priyana Ramdani, and the president of the association, Amelia Ramdani. Ramdani said that the Badminton Association is deeply committed to promoting badminton across Guyana, and as part of its effort to foster inclusivity, the governing body plans to expand the Shuttle Time program to additional regions, ensuring greater access to the sport nationwide. With this training, teachers are now better equipped to introduce badminton to students, fostering greater participation in the sport and paving the way for future development in Region 2. We tell you now that the former FIFA president Sepp Blatter and French football legend Michel Platini are back in court in Switzerland to face accusations on fraud. In 2022, the pair were acquitted in a trial over a payment of 2 million Swiss francs made to Platini and authorized by Blatter in 2011. Both men denied wrongdoing and said that the transfer was belated payment for FIFA advisory work by Platini, who formerly led European football's governing body UEFA. But the Swiss federal prosecutor appealed against the decision. The new trial is expected to last until Thursday, with a verdict due on March 25th. Following an investigation launched in 2015, Swiss prosecutors accused Blatter and Platini of forgery and fraud. Also in 2015, FIFA suspended both men from football for ethics breaches, originally for 8 years, although their exclusions were later reduced. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website and all social media platforms. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.